The production of carbon dioxide by human activity and the impact on climate change. So, how much carbon dioxide do we actually produce? In 2019, the world was emitting 50% more CO2 than the year 2000, and this figure is still rising. CO2 emissions are still rising because of four factors: population size, economic growth, energy intensity, and emissions per energy unit produced. So let's go into detail on population size. All humans require clothing, food, and homes, as well as wanting luxuries. All these necessities are produced via fossil fuels, which release large amounts of CO2. Therefore, the more people, the higher the CO2 emissions. The global population is rapidly growing and will be 11 billion by 2100. As a result, CO2 emissions will also rise over the next few decades. Economic growth is another important factor. The richer lifestyle we have, the greater wants we have. This means greater CO2 emissions. To put this into context, a programmer in the US has higher CO2 footprint than 50 farmers in Uganda. Humanity's global carbon footprint is the CO2 release per energy unit generated. The majority of main energy source is coal, and coal plants release more CO2 per unit energy than solar plants. Therefore, the more fossil fuels we burn, the higher the CO2 output. Now, on to climate change. The increase of CO2 emissions have left drastic changes such as more heat waves, more glaciers melting, and lowest amount of ice ever recorded in the North Pole. Climate change will unfortunately hit hardest on developing countries. Extreme climate change will result in food insecurity, conflict over resources, and more natural disasters, as well as large climate refugee movements.